Ange Postecoglou is the new head coach of Nottingham Forest, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at how he could set up Forest going forwards. We're going to be breaking down the tactics behind Ange Postecoglou's style of play, highlighting key players that could really benefit from this new style, and ultimately how Ange can take Nottingham Forest to that next level. Ange Postecoglou's style of play is completely different to what Nottingham Forest had previously with Nuno Espirito Santo, and that is clearly one of the reasons why he has just been hired. He has a really aggressive style of play, one that is more possession-based, one that is more free-flowing, but also one that is more risk-based, and it's that risk that will give Nottingham Forest that element of excitement, dynamism, and intense attacking intent. It begins with the roles of the wingers, allowing for themselves to play really high and wide, spreading the pitch as much as possible, especially in those attacking areas. This is combined with rotation in the centre of the park from both the attacking midfielder and two defensive midfielders, one of them moving forwards into a more attacking role and one moving centrally as a central defensive midfielder. One of the key pillars and roles that you're going to have are the roles of the fullbacks, a key highlight and real area that Ange Postecoglou likes to utilise. What you're going to see is fullbacks moving into inside channels, very much in line with the attacking midfielders in this setup, and what they're going to do is allow for specific overloads into different situations, highlighting these two inside channels in relation to both the wingers and the attacking midfielders. It gives overloads on both channels. This allows for a freedom to open up with the two attacking midfielders to move a little bit more narrow. You're going to see enticing styles of play, enticing 1-2 battles, and real tight-knit passing that allows Forest to really play through the lines as quickly as possible. This is also in tandem with the way that the fullbacks will then move forwards. Like I said, overloads, whether it be on an overlapping or underlapping run, this in tandem with the wingers moving both inside and outside allows for different opportunities and different styles of play. Of course, all looking to try and get their striker into the box to convert those chances, but also don't forget about those attacking midfielders and the way they like to highlight themselves and move towards the box. It's an aggressive style of play, a risk-taking style of play that is going to completely change everything for Nottingham Forest. Ange Postecoglou's aggressive, dynamic style of play opens up opportunities and possibilities for teams to be really exciting, and I think Nottingham Forest is going to be no different. Take a look at this. This is Tottenham Hotspur under Ange against Aston Villa, and one of the best games that I think Tottenham have played or had played under Ange in his time. They won 4-1 and completely played Villa off the pitch. In this particular scenario, they've won the ball back and they're looking to progress forwards. One thing to really know early on, though, are the positions of both fullbacks. You've got Pedro Porro right here and you've got Destiny Udogie. Destiny Udogie in particular is taking that inside channel. Now what this does is it causes John McGinn over here and Yuri Tielemans to have huge question marks. Do they mark him, or do they mark the winger, or do they mark one of the centre midfielders? It's these question marks that get opened up with Ange's style of play that allows them to start to create overload. So as this starts to go on, you've now got an overload in the centre of the park, essentially a 4v2, 4 of Tottenham players against Aston Villa's 2 holding midfielders. Jacob Ramsey can't come in field because of the possible run that Pedro Porro could make around the outside. This is because Brennan Johnson has moved in field. The dynamism and chaos that is created through the way that Ange sets up his team creates some really exciting moments, and in this particular example you've got one of your attacking midfielders or your hybrid attacking midfielder in Pat Matasar right here. You've got Dejan Kulusevski taking up a really good attacking position, and the ball is going to go through into Brennan Johnson, your winger, who is allowed to come in field again because of the possibility of Pedro Porro making that outfield run. Normally he would make that run. In this particular scenario he doesn't. Johnson plays it over to Kulusevski just in that pocket, not being marked by the 2 Aston Villa defensive midfielders because there is frankly far too much to mark, and at the same time you've got Dominic Solanke on the run right here. It all happens within a flash. Dejan Kulusevski plays a great pass over to Dom Solanke, and it allows for them to get in a really good, quick-paced fashion, and this is something that I think Nottingham Forest fans should really come to expect. Really exciting, quick-play football that's caused by the chaos and the real exciting, risk-taking moments that Ange Postecoglou's football entails. Off the ball is just as important as on the ball though, and with that comes an incredible amount of intensity, and it's this intensity that we're going to take a look at and how they managed to turn that around into an attacking moment. So you've got Aston Villa's players looking to build out from the back. You've got Pau Torres on the ball currently, he's looking for a pass, but immediately what have you got? You've got one Tottenham player onto Aston Villa player, the same goes for here and the same goes for here. Essentially Aston Villa's midfield is completely blocked off. He tries to play through, but it's just not available. It gets nipped out by Basuma onto Jacob Ramsey and it goes straight back to him. Again, he's looking for a pass. He tries to play across that midfield line, but in this position, Pat Matasar is now going to make a movement to intercept that, and all of a sudden, Tottenham are on their way. The moment this happens, it's then about committing players forwards. It's about dynamism, it's about attacking play, and it's about really capitalizing on the moment that you've just created. Look at this. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a fifth that comes in just a moment. It's absolutely sensational. Look at this. Here's your 5. It's really dynamic, really good, and again, with Nottingham Forest pace on the break, with their ability to counter in those particular moments, I can see this happening just as well once more. The ball goes over to Richarlison, who crosses it into Dominic Solanke, who is there to tap it home. It's a fantastic goal, but the counter-attack opportunity is still there with Nottingham Forest. It's just being utilised by a really intense, aggressive pressing nature from that Ange Postecoglou setup. It's pretty good. So how will Nottingham Forest set up under Ange Postecoglou? Well, to begin with, I think you're going to see a 4-2-3-1 shape like we mentioned earlier on. That's going to transition into a 4-3-3 once they enter their attacking phase of play. And watch out for a defensive formation of a 4-4-2. This is once they are out of possession and looking to really keep those opposition players away. Obviously converting back into that 4-2-3-1/4-3-3 once they regain possession once more. As for personnel, you've got Sells in goal to begin with. He had such a fantastic campaign with Nottingham Forest that I think he should be given the shot at that main goalkeeper role. Time will tell how well he's able to adapt to this new style of play, to this new aggressive Ange style that is going to be imprinted into this Nottingham Forest side. And in fact, just on that, I think there are going to be a couple of teething issues when it comes to this Forest squad and looking to see how they adapt into this more possessional based style of play. That can also be said for Milenkovic. Although I think Murillo will play an absolutely key and pivotal role in that defensive makeup, Milenkovic, with his lack of pace and Ange's high line, might come to really cause some problems initially. I can see him possibly being switched out on occasion for a more pacey centre-back. Watch out for that to happen. The fullback roles are arguably the most key and crucial roles in an Ange Postecoglou system, and that's why I believe the inclusion of Alexander Zinchenko on a deadline day deal is so very intriguing. We know that Nottingham Forest were thinking about changing manager way before this deal was announced, and it makes me wonder whether they already had a plan for the way that the coach was going to play before they even announced it. And Zinchenko is just that. His inclusion in that inside channel on the left-hand side, while also having the opportunity to have overlapping and underlapping runs, is really, really good. And it gives a good balance to Ola Aina on this other side with his high physical work rate and his ability to go up and down those channels. Really, really impressive, and two key roles that I think will be able to push this Nottingham Forest side forwards. The midfield is absolutely crucial, but it's also one that I think will really cater itself to this new Ange style of play. I've got Luiz and Anderson partnering each other in that 4-2-3-1 system, allowing for Anderson to have more of a hybrid role to go forwards and become another attacking midfielder. This is in tandem with the other attacking midfielder that I've got, which we'll talk about in just a second, but having Luiz just pivot into that central role allows him to dictate possession. He's good on the ball, but he's also got a good eye for a tackle. This Forest midfield, I think, will be something to be really concerned about if you're an opposition side, especially with the inclusion of Morgan Gibbs-White. While he isn't the favourite of everyone, I think his work rate off the ball and his ability on the ball will make him an instant pick for Ange Postecoglou's new look Nottingham Forest. It's this dynamic that will then change into a more offensive 3-man midfield with 2 attacking midfielders. Really impressive, looking for those dynamic runs of play and looking for those fullbacks to tuck in next to Douglas Luiz to maintain that possessional role. It's going to be really integral, but also extremely exciting. The wide areas are very interesting as well. You want high pace, high power wingers that are able to hold their width out on the far side to spread the pitch as much as possible, allowing for those attacking midfielders and those fullbacks to really do their work. That's why I've gone for Hudson-Odoi and Ndoye on both the left and right channels respectively. Hudson-Odoi did a very good job on that left hand side last season, and I think he will play a really pivotal role in progressing that Nottingham Forest left-hand side. Ndoye has already come in and found himself to be a really good, effective player. While I think there will be a tendency to play Amari Hutchinson for that balance on that right-hand side, especially with Olaena, I think the inclusion of both of these wingers will give Nottingham Forest, and especially Ange's Nottingham Forest, the dynamic play on those wide areas while also holding that width and maintaining a good attacking structure. Going in front of them though, really leading the line, I know a lot of people will be expecting Chris Wood, but I've actually gone for Cali Mwendo. His time at Rennes was extremely impressive, and I believe he's ready for that step up. In a more offensive based side and a side that's really going to look to create more attacking dynamic scenarios, I think he's really going to thrive off that, and especially the pace that Ange wants to play with. I'm not sure it's necessarily suited for the way that Chris Wood might want to adapt his game. That's why Cali Mwendo, I believe, will be leading the line for Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest, and this is the team in its entirety. It's got pace, it's got balance, it's got power, it's got a couple of teething problems they need to get through, but that midfield is pretty scary, especially with the possible inclusion of James McAtee instead of Morgan Gibbs-White. There's power, there's rotation, there's depth of squad. They've got nearly everything. It's going to be a really exciting time for Forest fans. It's going to be really entertaining as well. A lot of risk, a lot of entertainment, and should be a heap ton of goals. It's going to be exciting. But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Forest fans, get involved. What do you make of this Ange Postecoglou side? What do you make of Ange Postecoglou in general? And how do you think he's going to take Nottingham Forest forwards? I think he changes everything for Forest, and it's going to be really exciting to see how this all progresses. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.